Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. Today we're on site at the Springs at Monarch Landing. We're going to talk to the medical director and the director of therapy to learn all about their rehabilitation programs. What type of rehabilitation services do you offer here at the Springs at Monarch Landing?
We offer comprehensive rehab services including physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy with full-time staff on site. We offer therapy 7 days a week depending on the needs of the patient. So we basically assess them within the first 24 hours when they come in. All the therapists assess the patient to see what deficits he or she presents with, and we go from there, develop a therapy care plan.
Okay. And is this primarily orthopedic, or do you do other types?
We do a big spectrum of diagnosis, including orthopedics. We see a lot of joint replacements and cardiac, respiratory disorders following pneumonia, infections, UTIs, so a wide range of diagnosis.
That's wonderful. Now, Lynn, you're the medical director here?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your background.
I am from Ohio. I finished medical school in 1994, and I've kind of covered the whole spectrum of practice in internal medicine. Initially through 2000, through 94 through 2009, I actually practiced in a traditional practice where you would round on your hospital patients in the morning and come to the office and see patients there. And then in 2009, I transitioned over and became a hospitalist. So I just took care of strictly hospitalized patients. And now I've moved over here to become the medical director. So now I'm kind of on the receiving end of where I would discharge people, and so I'm kind of covering the full range spectrum. And it helps because I know what family members' concerns are, what patients' concerns are, and it just gives you a little bit, having that kind of background, you know what to expect and what to prepare people for when they are ultimately discharged back home. So,
right, and you're on site here 5 days a week.
Yes.
That's a little bit unusual, I feel, and I think that's a great benefit. How do you think that helps?
I think it's helpful in the sense where if the nursing staff or the therapy staff have any sort of concerns or questions that pop up, I'm here 5 days a week. They call me, I come over to the floor, evaluate the patient, see what needs to be done. Maybe if immediate changes need to be made, we take care of it right then and there. Plus, I'm also available to family members when they want to touch base with how their loved one's doing. So it's very useful being on site.
I think it's a great service. So you talked a little bit about the care plan, the therapy care plan. What does that entail, and does the medical director get involved?
So as I said, within the 24 hours of when the patient comes in, we assess the patient to see what kind of deficits they have. For example, if they are weak, which one of the legs is weak, which affects their walking abilities, or a lot of patients are present with generalized weakness, and that affects their overall performance. They're not able to do what we call the activities of daily living, including bathing, shower, dressing. So occupational therapy addresses all of that. So we identify the deficits and then focus on areas that need to be worked on. So the whole treatment plan is customized.
You have a very interesting and new concept here called the Free Step program. I had an opportunity to try their Free Step program. We're going to see how that worked out. Tell me a little bit, what's this exercise or this called?
So this is going to challenge your what we call static balance or standing balance. So you have to reach out and touch my hand and see what happens. So basically, if I'm by myself as a therapist, I don't need 10 hands to hold you, prevent you from falling.
Right.
Now, the next thing we're going to do is you're going to walk with the walker up front, let the walker go outside, doing the stairs. Okay. So let's start walking again.
Right. So I can feel that you are assisting me.
Right. And it's actually not you, but the harness is.
The harness, right.
So that's, I'm not supporting you, but assisting you in activities.
Right. And the harness is allowing you to really pay attention to me.
Hands-free.
Right. But you're also being able to pay more attention to me.
Exactly. So let's go up.
Right. Right. It's very, I can definitely feel the harness helping me lift up, and that going down, what I imagine would be.
All right, now go down slowly. See the offloading?
Right, and helping.
And I can control it from right here.
Right, and I would imagine that the downward step is pretty and scary. So, you gonna offload me there? Yeah, there we go.
So you can climb down.
There you go. So thank you very much. This has been very insightful. I think people take for granted what it takes to go through rehab and have balance and control. So the harness was great.
Yeah, thanks for trying it.
The free step system really gives the patient a lot of support. It gives them some security, because I think there's a lot of fear when
Fear of falling.
Yes, especially when you've fallen and this is what's gotten you into the situation. You've got to deal with that fear factor too, and this gives you, a very secure feeling. Tell me a little bit about how you found it and why you're using it here.
So how I explain it to the patients is the free step system is basically an overhead track system and harness system, which enables the patient as well as the therapist to move around freely, which means that the patient has, a lot of them have fear of falling. So there is actually the harness protecting you from any of those loss of balances.
Lynn, how long is an average person in the Springs?
Generally, usually about 2 to 3 weeks predominantly. So it depends on what got you here in the first place and how many pre-existing medical conditions you had. Obviously, people who come in for knee replacements who are relatively healthy and on the younger side of our population generally can get out sooner. So we see a whole wide spectrum of different lengths of stays, but that's usually 2 to 3 weeks.
That's awesome. Well, it's often surprising what else you have to deal with when you come here. Both as a doctor, that someone might come in with a hip replacement but be diabetic or have high blood pressure. So that all comes with you.
Yes, follows you.
Follows you. How does that the therapy work with this open environment of this lovely living area and dining room? I mean, it's beautiful.
Right. Yeah. So it's mainly the household model, which we focus on customizing therapy for the patient. And the basic core of everything is it's just like your home, the patient's home. In addition to, they have 24-hour medical supervision as well as benefits of therapy to get better and go home. So what we do is do customized therapy schedules depending on what time they wake up or like to wake up. So, we do everything customized. We do one-on-one therapies, and we encourage the families to get involved in the rehab part of the patient, so it's a smoother transition when they go home.
I think oftentimes people, before they get here and have an experience in a rehab facility, think they might be able to do this at their house. Why is that not a good idea?
People seem to overestimate what they're going to be capable of once they get home, and there's a lot of fear going into it, which you don't even realize until all of a sudden you're at home, you have no medical supervision, and then the family members also are quite fearful. It is very difficult when you have limited weight-bearing status to maneuver around. Plus, a lot of homes are built differently, and negotiating steps, even the few steps it takes to get into the house, can be quite cumbersome for somebody. So I think once people get here, they actually feel very comfortable, and a lot of times people will say, oh my gosh, I'm afraid to go home, and then we have to reassure them on that end, like it's going to be okay. I think your family members are well versed on how to help, and the patients become more confident in what they can do.
Well, I think that's a wonderful statement about the Springs, that they become so comfortable and they have such good care that they don't want to leave you.
Right.
Well, thank you for letting us come by and find out a little bit more about your rehab facility. You're doing great work here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Business Connection.